"Take that fence down. You have no right to block my view." Karen Whitfield shouted across the street like I was plotting a coup in the suburbs, her voice echoing off the pines loud enough for the mailman and probably the squirrels to hear. All this fuss because my fence stood just a few inches taller than what the HOA allowed. I looked at her and said, "I built it to keep something out." She scoffed, called me paranoid, but I knew what I'd seen, those tracks in the dirt at dawn, that sharp metallic scent in the air, none of it normal and none of it ever explained by property values or HOA bylaws. And that was just the start of Karen's nightmare, though she never guessed the thing she wanted gone was the only thing keeping her safe. You want to know how 3 weeks of tension nearly broke a whole neighborhood? It started the day I moved back to Pine Ridge after my mom passed. Cancer took her slow, left me in that quiet, sterile hospital room feeling helpless. So when I inherited her house, I figured maybe some fresh Colorado air would help. Instead, I ended up outside hands raw from building an 8-foot fence around my place, trying to keep out what I couldn't even name yet, while the HOA Queen Bee Karen declared war. "Mr. Morrison, you're in direct violation of the HOA covenants." Karen intoned every word sharp as a gavel. She waved her manila folder at me like it was a badge, said I had 48 hours to tear down my fence or she'd take legal action. She was put together, late 40s, expensive yoga gear, that kind of blonde hair you only get with time and money, but her hands told a different story. Fresh scratches, and she reeked of those weird chemicals you smell in high school biology labs. The kicker. She kept glancing past me, eyes fixed on the woods like she expected something to come charging out. "Mrs. Whitfield." "I'm a biology teacher," I said, fighting the urge to laugh. "Bears are using this place as a corridor again. They're getting bold. Track, scat, claw marks. I'm just trying to keep us all safe." She turned a new shade of red, hands shaking as she hissed, "There are no bears here. You're scaring people with your paranoia. Take down the fence or you'll regret it." The threat lingered, and I could tell this wasn't just about the fence. She was genuinely afraid, though, of what I wasn't sure. I tried reasoning, offered to decorate the fence plant. Some vines softened the view but made it clear the height wasn't changing. Karen laughed, brittle as glass. "I run this HOA. I don't negotiate." Then, almost by accident, she muttered, "You have no idea what you're interfering with," before covering with more property value talk. That slip told me everything I needed. As she stormed off, tripping over my hose and landing face first in the mud, she shot one last warning over her shoulder, but all I could see was a massive paw print in the dirt, fresh 6 inches across claw marks, deep pointed straight at Karen's backyard. You ever get that prickly feeling you're being watched? That was me staring at the trees, wondering just what I'd gotten into. The next morning, I geared up camera, notebook, bear spray my mom's friend Tom Bradley insisted on. Tom was a forest ranger for 2 decades, and he always said, "You want answers, you go to the woods." 20 minutes in, I found it, a bear cub no bigger than a dog, single gunshot wound, gallbladder cut out with surgical precision. I knew what that meant, poachers. And I knew bears didn't leave their cubs. There was a mother out there, probably close, definitely pissed. Tom met me at Murphy's Diner, where old news is breakfast and secrets are the special. I showed him the photos. He said, "That's bear bile money, Jake. Somebody's processing here, selling it to the highest bidder. They'd need privacy, basement access, maybe easy route to the forest." Karen's recently renovated basement came to mind, along with all those rumors about machinery running late and her pal Marcus Webb visiting after dark, toolbox in hand. Marcus lost his contractor license years ago for building illegal underground rooms. If anyone knew how to build a secret tunnel, it was him. Mrs. Rodriguez, Pine Ridge's unofficial historian, slid into our booth, eavesdropping like it was her second job. She'd seen midnight deliveries, heard machinery, and even caught the chemical tang wafting from Karen's basement. "Whatever they're doing down there," she whispered, "it ain't natural." With all this swirling, I realized my fence wasn't just blocking Karen's view, it was blocking her secret route into the woods. That night I sat up, camera at the ready. Sure enough, sometime after midnight, the security lights flickered on, and there she was, a mother black bear, huge, grieving, tracing the property line, tracking something only she could smell. Karen's basement lit up, and she and Marcus began hauling equipment out fast, dumping buckets of bleach on the patio, the chemical stench so strong it stung my nose from inside the house. After sunrise, I was served with a lawsuit. Karen was fast-tracking demolition, demanding the city find me 50 grand and rip the fence out. But the rush job told me she had friends in high places or maybe something bigger to hide. I dug deeper. Her so-called honey business had no permits, no license, but luxury wellness sites were peddling mountain honey for 5 grand a jar, aimed at international buyers. It wasn't honey, and we all knew it. Tom looped in Deputy Sarah Mills, who'd been poking around herself. She'd found Karen's bank records, huge cash deposits, just under the limit for federal reporting, steady for 2 years. Marcus had been buying commercial quantities of ammo, and Karen was filing noise complaints about teenagers every time someone reported gunshots in the woods. They'd built a whole system with Marcus running the tunnels and Karen laundering the money. Then I got the message, a photo of my house from the woods, red circle around my window. Your fence is interfering with legitimate business. Take it down or else. Tom said, "This is organized crime, Jake. They're moving product through your backyard. Be careful." Deputy Mills called in extra patrols and set up surveillance. That night, 3 trucks with their lights off rolled up behind Karen's house. Marcus and his crew unloaded industrial freezers and tools. In the trees, I spotted not 1 but 3 adult bears silent, watching a tactical formation if I've ever seen one. Then the bears began vocalizing loud enough to rattle the windows. The poachers panicked, scrambling, bleach flying, but the bears closed in. At 2:30 a.m., the mother bear attacked not blindly but with surgical precision, smashing Karen's basement entrance, ignoring everything but her goal. Instead of calling 911, Karen called me, her voice a wreck. "Jake, please, it knows what I did. Make it stop." Through the broken window, I saw her sobbing, hiding behind an industrial freezer. I told her, "She wants her cub. Give it back or this ends ugly." Karen shook, stammering about Marcus, about debts, about how she never meant for it to go this far. The bear pressed her head against the glass, watching, waiting. When Karen finally opened the freezer and handed over the small plastic-wrapped body, the bear made a sound that broke everyone's heart, a keening like a funeral song. Sirens howled closer, bears circled the property, and Karen broke, confessing to me, and then to the law, sobbing about how many more animals had died for Marcus and his buyers in Vancouver and China. Federal agents swarmed Pine Ridge at dawn, pulling out freezers, computers full of shipping logs and evidence of a $3 million operation. Marcus tried to run, but they caught him. Karen stood there in cuffs, mascara running, while the mother bear watched her cub safe in her arms at last. My fence, the one Karen wanted gone so bad, had been the thing that exposed it all, forced them to slip up, forced the truth into the open. Over the next months, Pine Ridge changed. Karen got 15 years, Marcus 25, and Mrs. Rodriguez became a minor celebrity for helping crack the case. The forest became a protected wildlife corridor, my fence, the official boundary between people and wild. The sanctuary thrived, bears returned, and I went from outcast to environmental coordinator for the whole district, teaching kids how one barrier built for protection, not exclusion, can save a whole community. On quiet evenings, I'd walk that fence spot, the bears moving through, and wonder how close we'd come to losing it all to greed and desperation. One evening, I saw the mother bear one last time. We locked eyes, her with all the pain and wisdom of the wild me, with my guilt and hope. And then she was gone, melted into the trees, but her legacy alive in every cub born free. Funny, isn't it, how the thing someone wants to tear down is sometimes the only thing holding the world together? If you stuck around this long, I'd love to hear where you stand. Should fences keep things out, or do they sometimes save us from ourselves? Drop a comment, argue it out. Sometimes justice comes with claws, and sometimes it's just a biology teacher with a stubborn streak and a handful of nails.